Nigeria alone holds the world's largest natural gas reserves. Mismanagement and corruption have resulted in the country struggling to provide adequate electricity for its population of over 160 million people. In neighboring Ghana, the story is similar. Poor power supply and outages have become a symbol of the country's economic downturn. Not only is the West African Power Summit trying to find solutions to the electricity supply issues, it is also looking at ways to attract more investment. 15 years ago, electricity companies from ECOWAS member states set up a cooperation known as the West African Power Pool. The aim? To establish a more reliable grid by leveraging the region's joint resources. This, however, is not yet feasible.
There needs to be power to pool. You cannot be talking about power pool without power. And countries are hungry for power now. The countries that can produce the power, like Nigeria, like Ghana, and all those other countries. They are not producing the power yet. So they need to produce the power to be able to pool the power, to be able to regulate the power, to be able to have power going to communities.
In Nigeria, private buyers have taken control of state-owned distribution firms and sixth-generation companies. This has done little to eliminate the power crisis gripping the country. Experts say infrastructure will be key in cutting losses. Even though millions of Nigerians go for months on end without power, they are still billed monthly for usage of undelivered services by the power holding company of Nigeria.
By the looks of things, we are not alone. Joining us in studio to talk more about the energy crisis on the continent is Johan de Koker. He's the director of SeTAR, that's an acronym for Sustainable Energy Technology and Research Center at the University of Johannesburg. A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
Let's try and get a sense of how far-reaching and how deep this problem is. How big a problem is the issue of an unstable power supply on the continent?
It really cuts to every person who is using electricity. It really cuts to every economy. Power, supply of power gives us work opportunities and infrastructure. So it really affects every person, and it affects the economies of all the countries in Africa, especially sub-Saharan Africa, which is one of the most energy-poor regions in the world.
Now, you know, the danger, which I suppose is a catch-22 here, is that people become acclimatized to the fact that, there's unstable power, we just make a plan, we must just be strong, and we become accustomed to the fact that every 2 days or 3 days or so there's no power, which I believe is the situation in Nigeria. I may be wrong, but that may bring a certain level of complacency among the populations, just to say that this is the way things are, and perhaps we run the risk of making a government also a little bit lax when it comes to that. So what are some of the short-term strategies in the interim that we can implement as a continent to try and mitigate these issues?
We have to use the power that we have more efficiently. So one of the very small things that everyone can do is to introduce or install LEDs instead of other light fittings. Use solar water heating, things like that. Small things that we all can try and do in our own households. And because in South Africa, at least, I don't think we have that level of complacency. South Africans are people that would like to change things and to get things back, because we know that for us it affects our economy badly, and we really, all of us, are trying to really do something about it in our own small way. And if every person would do that, I think we will go a long way, especially in South Africa, to be able to use what we have more efficiently.
So you believe going green is the best solution, and that also, as a citizenry, we need to be empowered enough to make those small decisions of, solar heaters if you can afford it, or making sure that we start implementing mechanisms that will make us live greener, I suppose. But what about the onus on government and perhaps even the private sector when it comes to infrastructure development on the continent? We know our very own Medupi has been in the pipelines for several years. But let's talk about infrastructure development.
Infrastructure development in South Africa, as far as electricity is concerned, I think the easy way is and our government is doing this, is to install a lot of solar photovoltaic power stations. We have we're fortunate that we have a country that has one of the highest sunshine indexes in the world. And so we can easily install, and we are busy installing lots of solar and photovoltaic power stations. The photovoltaic power station you can install within a year to 2 years, where it takes 4 to 5 to 10 years to install these other big power stations. And we at University of Johannesburg are talking to people to assist in that. We assist in all other kinds of green things that we try and help. The city of Joburg, for instance, we're involved with a lot of projects with them to be able to use our power better and to overcome the problem that we have.
I know the Northern Cape is also big on wind power and solar power as well. We'll have to leave this discussion there, at least for now. That was Johan de Koker, Director of SeTAR, or the Sustainable Energy Technology and Research Centre at the University of Johannesburg, speaking to us about the energy crisis in Africa, or what some politicians may call energy challenge in Africa. All right, we'll leave it there, at least for now. More in just a moment. Stay with us.